Breathe in, because that's the real lever behind what people call subtle manipulation. Tiny, ethical shifts that change the trajectory without force, pressure, or gimmicks. Tonight I'm going to hand you a complete system you can use the next time you meet someone you're drawn to. It won't ask you to be someone else. It won't ask you to say lines you don't believe. It will ask you to sharpen your attention, master your state, and guide the frame of the interaction so naturally that the other person feels more themselves around you, not less. If at any point a tactic would erode respect, we're not using it. This is seduction through precision, not control. You're here to lead without lying, to influence without coercion, and to be memorable for the right reasons. Ready? Let's calibrate your mind, your presence, and your words. Start with state. Influence begins at the level of your nervous system. If your breath is shallow, your shoulders tense, your voice tight, everything becomes effortful. If your breath is grounded and your gaze soft, your timing improves. Before you speak to anyone you find attractive, give yourself 30 seconds. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Slow exhale that's slightly longer than the inhale. 2 or 3 cycles. Your heart rate dips. Your micro movements smooth out. The mind quiets. This is not fluff. It's your stability protocol. When you enter with a regulated nervous system, you project calm authority without trying. That is step 1. Now, attention. Most people think attraction is created by talking. It's created by noticing. Establish a baseline in the first 15 seconds. How fast do they speak? How wide is their gesture range? What's their default expression? Where does their energy sit? Eyes? Hands? Torso? Don't analyze to death. Just mark the baseline. Then watch for micro shifts. Faster blink rate, delayed answers, a slight lean in, an eyebrow flash, fingers fidgeting with a glass. These are the instruments on your dashboard. Subtle manipulation isn't about pulling levers. It's about reading the panel and nudging the dial. When you see a positive shift, a lean in, a softening in the voice, hold the moment a little longer. When you see a withdrawal, a step back, a tight smile, ease the pressure, ask an easy question, or pivot the topic. You're surfing micro signals, not forcing outcomes. Next, the frame. Whoever defines the frame guides the meaning. You can frame the interaction as an interview, a performance, a negotiation, or a game. Choose the exploration frame. You are 2 curious people mapping a new corner of the world together. That frame dissolves pressure instantly. Use language that supports it. Let's find out. I'm curious about. Here's a tiny experiment. Exploration also legitimizes your questions and your pauses. It implies movement and discovery. And discovery is seductive. Open clean. You don't need a clever line. You need a crisp, grounded start. Speak on the exhale, not the inhale. Keep your first sentence simple and present tense. I noticed your book. Worth the hype? Or, you have the calmest energy in here. Is that training or natural talent? You've done 3 things. Observed, offered a micro compliment tied to a behavior, and asked a question that invites a real answer. That's ethical, disarming, and effective. Now, pacing and leading. First, you match something true in their reality. Then, you invite a shift. Long day, they say. Yeah. You pace. Feels like the kind of day where caffeine pretends to help. Watch their eyes. If you get the micro smile, lead. Let's do a non-caffeinated mini reset. What's the most unexpectedly good moment you had today? You started in their world and gently steered toward a richer emotional state. That's subtle manipulation used for uplift. You're not dragging them anywhere. You're making the path easy. Use the yes and ladder, but not the cheesy version. 3 quick agreements on reality, 1 gentle reframe. This place is loud. Totally, the lighting tries to make up for it. It does. Great color on that jacket, by the way. Tiny pause. Let's claim the quieter corner by the plants. I want to hear the end of your thought. Agreement builds safety. The reframe adds direction. You're moving without bulldozing. Your voice is a tool. Variety beats perfection. Speak slightly slower than you think you should when you ask something meaningful. Speed up when you're sharing something light. Drop your tone at the end of key phrases. A downward tone signals completion and confidence. An upward tone signals doubt. Minimal upward inflection. End important sentences like you mean them. and add micro pauses right after you say something evocative. Silence is a high-status move when it's warm, not cold. Cut sterile compliments. Use precision. Praise a behavior, not a category. "You're beautiful" is generic. "The way you take your time before you answer makes me lean in" is specific, observant, and unforgettable. Precision signals presence. Presence creates gravity. Avoid negative hooks masked as flirting. You don't neg, you don't cut to get a reaction. Cheap tension creates fragile attraction and hidden resentment. If you want tension, use contrast instead of harm. Pair a tease with a sincere anchor. "You look a little dangerous," might like the type who alphabetizes her spice rack and denies it. Smile. When they laugh, anchor. "I like that mix. Tidy mind, mischievous streak." You delivered play without a wound. Anchor safety through micro-boundaries you set on yourself. "I've got 10 minutes, then I'm meeting a friend." That's real scarcity, not fake. Constraint creates focus. It also raises your status because your time is structured. If the energy is good at minute 8, extend by 5 with a smile. "Okay, award for most interesting detour. I'm stealing 5 more." You create the sense of earning time, not taking it for granted. Lead through curiosity, not interrogation. Avoid stacked why questions early. They can feel like a probe. Use what and how. What do you wish people asked you about that they never do? How did you end up choosing that city? These questions open doors without implying judgment. When you hit a spark, eyes brighten, posture opens, stay with it. Go 2 layers deeper. What felt pivotal about that decision? Was it relief or adrenaline? Let them surprise themselves. People bond with those who help them discover their own thoughts. Seed identity. Commitment and consistency work ethically when you invite someone to articulate who they are, not trap them in a promise. You strike me as someone who protects their mornings. True? If they agree, respect it later. I'm not going to text you at 2 a.m. Your mornings are sacred. You turned a casual observation into a shared rule that honors their identity. That's influence without pressure. Use the mirror label lead triad. Mirror the last few words softly. Label the emotion you sense. Sounds like that felt expensive, but liberating. Lead with an easy path forward. Let's vote for liberating tonight. 2 adventurous choices on the menu and no reading reviews. Mirroring keeps the rhythm smooth. Labeling builds empathy, and leading gives momentum. Tell short stories with open loops. Humans lean toward closure. Begin a story, leave a soft edge, finish later. Remind me to tell you about the worst coffee I ever had in Lisbon. Keep going. 10 minutes later, they will ask. When they do, you finish with humor and a tiny lesson that reveals your values. Now, you've created a thread that stitched your interaction together. That's narrative tension with zero manipulation harm. Time your touch with impeccable respect. Early on, let your gestures land near them, not on them. If you go for a light touch, a celebratory tap on the knuckles, a brief shoulder squeeze, make it brief and then withdraw. Touch is a privilege you earn by reading reciprocity, not a right you claim by timing. If you're ever in doubt, wait. Nothing is sexier than a person who is clearly in control of themselves. Watch the ratio. Aim to have them speaking 55 to 65% of the time. When you do speak, deliver value, clarity, humor, a vivid image, a crisp observation. Kill filler. Replace like with breathable pauses. Precision speech feels powerful. You can train this in everyday conversations, not just in romance. By the time you enter a date, you've coded your mouth to produce clean lines. Manage the environment. Micro choices matter. If you can, stand at a slight angle, not face to face in the first 5 minutes. It feels less confrontational. If seated, choose a seat with visual openness. People relax when they can see the room. Spread your belongings intentionally. A phone face down, a wallet tucked away. Clutter equals noise. Minimalism equals signal. Detect and diffuse tests. When someone teases you to see your reaction, pass with warmth. If they say, "Are you always this confident?" You smile, slow down, and answer, "Only when it's earned." If they ask for proof, pivot to play. Tell you what, ask me something I should absolutely not know, and I'll try to guess badly with conviction. The frame becomes fun, not adversarial. You refuse the bait without being brittle. Learn the 4 micro frames you can toggle: playful, grounded, curious, decisive. Playful is your spark, light, teasing energy that lifts. Grounded is your anchor, calm, present, unfazed. Curious is your bridge, genuine interest that pulls depth. Decisive is your edge, clear movement when it's time to act. Your power comes from switching gracefully, not camping in one. When it's time to invite cleanly, no hedging. I'm going for a 15-minute walk to reset my brain. Come with me for 10. Short, specific, low pressure. If they say no, you smile and accept instantly. Non-reactivity is rare and magnetic. If they say yes, you move without fanfare. The transition itself signals leadership. Text with momentum, not noise. The purpose of the first text is to continue the feeling, not to prove anything. Reference a beat from your conversation and attach a tiny challenge or a delightful micro-task. You have 24 hours to send me the song that matches last night's mood. If I hate it, I'm choosing coffee. If I love it, we choose your tea. This is playful structure. It creates a game and a reveal. Games amplify attraction ethically because both people can opt in or opt out. Use time boxing on dates. 90 minutes is perfect for early meetings. End slightly early at the peak. The peak end rule makes people remember the highlight and how it ended. Leave on a high, and the memory stays warm. Leave in a slump, and the night feels longer than it was. End with a clear next step when the energy is right. Next round, you're picking the tiny bookstore with the weird smell. Specific, vivid, forward. Handle friction like a pro. If they disagree, don't debate to win. Explore to understand. Convince me, and assume I want you to. That one sentence turns a clash into a collaboration. If the vibe truly isn't there, exit with grace. I liked meeting you. I think we want different flavors of connection. Wishing you good things. That level of clarity earns respect and leaves doors open in ways you can't predict. Protect your boundaries without performance. If someone pushes past your comfort, you don't flinch or explain too much. You simply state, "I don't do that," and pivot. The more casually you hold your boundaries, the more naturally they are accepted. And the people who don't accept them, they self-select out. That's a feature, not a bug. Spot the tactics you will not use. Guilt-tripping, gaslighting, manufactured jealousy, withholding validation to hook someone's nervous system. These are not subtle. They are corrosive. They produce drama, not devotion. They also attract the exact dynamics you're trying to avoid. The most powerful form of subtle manipulation is subtractive, refusing to play toxic games and letting your behavior set the rules of engagement. You become the person with the clean signal in a noisy market. Calibrate status without arrogance. Status is the blend of resources, reputation, and, most importantly, self-respect. You don't brag, you demonstrate. Micro example. When the bill arrives, you decide how you want to handle it beforehand and act cleanly. I invited, I've got this. Delivered without fanfare, feels generous and decisive. Or, let's split. I want to keep us light and unentangled for now. Directness prevents games. Games create confusion. Confusion kills attraction. Use props and rituals. Carry a small, distinctive item that has a story. A worn coin, a travel-stamped notebook, a fountain pen. Not as a gimmick, as a conversation seed. Ritualize a tiny practice you can invite someone into. Rating cappuccinos out of 10. Guessing strangers' backstories in one line. Trading 2-minute challenges. Shared rituals create microculture. Microculture accelerates intimacy. Train your eye for edges. People light up at their edges. Topics where they're skilled but rarely recognized. Passions they've hidden because others didn't get it. Ask for edges softly. What's the thing you're world-class at that your friends underestimate? When they answer, validate the rarity. Then, if appropriate, ask to see a little of it right now in a tiny way. Teach me the 1-minute version. You just turned a conversation into a mini collaboration. Collaboration bonds. Leverage place memory. Humans attach emotion to locations. If tonight goes well, end it in a spot that's easily revisited. A mural wall, a bench under a specific tree, a tiny corner table. Name it. This is officially our conspiracy corner. It sounds playful, but it writes a bookmark into both of your minds. When you return, intimacy loads faster because the environment carries the previous state. Refine your aesthetic signals. You don't need to be flashy, you need to be coherent. Choose 1 or 2 consistent elements, watch, shoes, fragrance, that become part of your signature. Keep them immaculate. You're signaling attention to detail without saying a word. The sense that this person handles the small things bleeds into this person can handle bigger things. That's attraction via inference. Practice conversational minimalism under pressure. If someone is unusually attractive to you, your brain starts overproducing language. Let the space breathe. When you feel the urge to fill silence, take a sip of water instead. When you feel the urge to rush a joke, slow the setup by 1 beat. That microcontrol under arousal is rare. Rarity is magnetic. When you praise, link the praise to values. You keep your word is stronger than "you're nice." You asked the better question when it would have been easier to talk about yourself is stronger than "you're interesting." Value-based compliments sink deeper and last longer. If you promise something, deliver. Reliability is the king of subtle influence. If you say you'll send a playlist, send it. If you say you'll book the spot, book it. Reliability is erotic in a chaotic world. It's not loud, but it's unforgettable. Adopt the 2 invitations rule. You invite twice across 2 different days or contexts. If there's no reciprocation, release it. You don't push, you let alignment reveal itself. This protects your energy and signals that you are not starving for attention. Abundance is felt, not announced. Use micro-stakes flirtation. Add small wagers that lead to playful consequences, not heavy outcomes. If you guess my middle name in 3 tries, I owe you the best chocolate croissant in the city. If you don't, you owe me your most embarrassing travel story. Stakes make moments sticky. Keep them light, keep them fun. Know how to land the plane. Endings are your signature. Don't trail off, don't over-explain. When you're ready to go, summarize the highlight and exit cleanly. You've officially convinced me Buenos Aires is underrated, and I'm taking your empanada route. I'm going to bounce. Text me the playlist name so I can judge you properly. Smile, then leave. The clarity creates anticipation instead of ambiguity. Build a simple debrief ritual with yourself after each interaction. What worked? Where did you push? Where did you rush? What did you notice that others missed? Write 1 line. Improvement compounds. Your goal is not to manipulate more. It's to need manipulation less because your presence does most of the work. Understand timing windows. Early attraction rides on novelty and momentum. Don't let green lights go stale. If you had a great energy spike, follow up within 24 hours with something that extends the thread, not a generic "had fun." Specificity rekindles the exact state you shared. I can still hear you defending pistachio gelato with your whole soul. Wednesday 20 minutes taste test, no mercy. You referenced an edge, created a miniature mission, and set a boundary on time. That is world-class subtlety. Guard your inner frame. You're not auditioning, you're curating. When you feel the old urge to prove your worth, transmute it into curiosity about theirs. When you feel the pull to overshare, convert it into a crisp, evocative detail. When you feel the panic to fill space, replace it with presence. The person who can metabolize their nerves in real time looks like a magician to those who cannot. Make repair your superpower. If you misread a cue, own it immediately. I pushed that moment too fast. My bad. No justification, no dramatics, just accountability. Then reset the frame. Back to curiosity mode. That level of agility builds trust faster than perfection does. Perfection is an act. Repair is human. Here's a compact practice circuit to install all of this. For the next 10 days, do 3 things daily. 1. Regulate. 30 seconds of breath before any meaningful conversation. 2. Observe. Write 1 sentence each night about a micro-signal you caught that changed your approach. 3. Refine. Replace 1 generic compliment with a specific value-based appreciation. 10 days from now, your conversations will feel different. You will feel different in them. Remember this truth: subtle manipulation at its highest level is indistinguishable from leadership plus empathy. You're not trying to bend someone out of shape. You're offering them a smoother path to a version of the moment that feels better for both of you. You're the person who notices the room, tunes your voice, invites play, sets clean boundaries, and leaves people more alive than you found them. That's the kind of influence that sustains attraction, not just sparks it. So, The next time you walk into a room, carry this in your body. Breathe slower than the noise. Notice the person before the performance. Pace their world before you lead them toward yours. Ask the question that lets them reveal an edge. Complement the behavior that reflects a value. Use silence as a canvas, humor as light, and decisiveness as the frame. Decline games. End on the high. And when you leave a thread worth picking up again. That is the art you came for, and if you practice it gently and consistently, you won't need tricks. You'll be the person people feel pulled toward without knowing why, and you'll know exactly how you built that pull, breath by breath, word by word, moment by moment.